February today, and what I'm going to show you today are some tomatoes. We're going to call these ones the bog standard tomatoes because some of the other tomato seeds that I've got are really slightly bizarre shapes and colours and sizes. So these are just a couple of the normal ones that I'm going to show you. Now, tomato seeds, or the ones I'm going to show you, I've got Shirley, which are supposed to be really, really good. I've never actually sown Shirley before, but I know people who have. And Moneymaker. Now, I've sown Moneymaker so many times. They do really, really well, but these, just be aware that they will get blight. So just be very aware about that and about where you grow them. Mine will grow in the greenhouse, either the one at home or the one down the allotment. I cannot grow tomatoes out on the allotment site because they always get blight. They never used to, and now it just goes round the site. So it's not worth me sowing them outside in the ground, which is such a shame, because I just love seeing them growing outside. I did one year, a long time ago, try some blight resistant ones, but they weren't. They still got blight, but I think that year it was a very, very bad year. Now, blight, blight, you get blight when it's humid outside and damp. So you won't have it one day, and then you'll come down the following day and you'll have dark black blotches on the tomato leaves, on the stems, and within a few days, about 3 days, it's just gone all the way through the plant and the plant's just disappeared. If I do get it this year, if I do end up growing some outside, because I don't have enough space in the greenhouse, then I will show you what blight looks like. But fingers crossed I won't have to. So, tomatoes, these ones can be sown any time from January to March. And as it's February, I just thought that I would stick them in now. They do need to be started inside. Because you don't plant them, you don't sow them straight outside, they won't cope. The other tomatoes, the weird tomatoes that I've got, they will be sown next month. Tomatoes like a little bit of heat to start growing, because if you sow them a bit too early, they'll just stay in the soil and they won't start growing until it gets a little bit warmer outside. So don't worry if nothing seems to happen for a while. What I would suggest you do is put a propagator lid on the top of them as well, so that will just keep an extra little bit of heat inside. But let me show you a very easy way of how to sow your tomatoes. Now, I'm going to start these off in these little seed trays. If you don't have the little ones, then just use one of the big seed trays. The Shirleys are actually an F1, which means they should grow absolutely fabulously, and there are only about 10 seeds in one pack, whereas the Moneymaker, there's about 50. It says enough for 50 plants, which must mean 50 seeds, because you get one plant per seed. So you don't need anything fancy. I'm just going to take that out of it. Just use some multi-purpose compost and just fill the tray nearly to the top. If you don't have a tray and you want to sow them in a 3-inch pot, because you're limited on space, then that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem. So just fill it with, fill your container with compost, and then just gently pat it down. Now, if your compost is dry like mine is, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it just a little water. Okay, not too much. Wait for the water to go down, because sometimes if your compost is really, really dry, your water and the water will sit on top for quite a while. So wait for the water to go down, and then you can start sowing your seeds. So I'm just going to show you the Moneymaker, because the Shirleys will be exactly the same. I've got them all? I think so. Now these are the seeds. They're very, very tiny. If you look inside a tomato, you'll see the seeds, and that's the size that they are. All tomato seeds look exactly the same. Some are just ever so slightly bigger than others. So just take a pinch and just sprinkle across the damp compost. If you find that any have got too close to each other, then please feel free to separate them out a bit. But to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter if some are a bit too close. Now most of these should germinate. Tomatoes actually have quite a high germination rate. So there's the last one. So, you know, we should get hopefully about 40-45 plants coming up from there. Now once you've put the seeds on, then we just need to cover them with a little bit more compost. Make sure you put it through your hands so that you get any of the lumps broken up, or if there are any really hard lumps in there, then just get rid of them. Okay, and just move it so that all the seeds are covered. It's just a very small amount of compost on the top. If you put too much, then the little seeds won't be able to grow. So I won't give that another water, because we watered it before we planted the seeds, and I won't water it again until it's gone quite dry around the outside. When the soil is dry, it kind of moves away from the side, so you know that you need to water it. But because they're very small seeds, don't over water them. Be very, very careful, because if you water them too much, then they'll rot and then they won't grow. So that's the Moneymaker. I'll just move on to the Shirley, and then I'll be back with you in a sec. So here they are. There's the Shirley here, and there's the Moneymaker there. There were actually, it said on the packet of Shirley that there were only going to be 10 in there, but there were actually 12. So hopefully we'll get most of those coming up. Now, you need to make sure that you label them. If you don't have space like me to put the label in, like the packet in like that, then put a little white label in. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put a propagator lid on top of them. This will just give them a bit more protection, just in case we have a chilly night, and also it will keep the heat in during the day, and hopefully the seeds will grow just a little bit sooner. If you do have a beautiful, really lovely hot day, then take the propagator lid off. But make sure it's clean so that the light can come through. When the seeds do start to come up, still keep the propagator lid on, because they still need the heat. Okay, but this isn't a heated one. My greenhouse isn't heated because several of you have asked. So it's just the heat from the sun that warms up my greenhouse. So that's the tomatoes, and I'll keep you updated on their progress. Okay, so that's the tomatoes done, or the normal tomatoes, shall we call them, the bog standard ones. I will keep you updated on their progress and show you as they grow, so that you know when they poke through the soil what you're looking for. Make sure that when you do sow them, you sow them in sterile compost, so it's brand new bought compost that you've bought that year, because the seeds tend to grow much better with brand new compost. And also use water straight out of the tap, especially with new seeds. Don't use grey water, because again, the grey water isn't sterile. Once the plants are big and healthy and growing beautifully, then you can use grey water. Okay, but it's just that starting off bit, they need everything all nice and clean and tidy. Okay, well, I hope you found that useful, and I hope that you give some tomatoes this year a grow. As I say, in another video I will show you, and I will go through all the bizarre ones that I've got this year, but that won't be for at least another month, until March. I hope to see you very soon. Bye bye.